losing in
the
that game
Germans.
2-1. There were no German bombers in the air. I love that chant. That's so great. I'm normally not an England guy, but that one's pretty good. But anyways, getting
Or
into
two
it,
World
Ryan.
Wars and one World Cup, even though
Amen.
USA carried in those World Wars. Just saying. Just saying,
Mm.
England. You're
Well,
welcome. You're
Winston
welcome.
Churchill, for all of his problems, man, he is a hero, though. I mean, I will give him that. He defied the odds in World War II. So the little island of England actually did their job. I'll give him that. But yeah, I mean, why'd you have to like take over half the world? Why was that necessary? I don't understand it. But anyways, Ryan, I'm going to leave the floor to you. I know obviously you watched the entire match. You were on top of it with the live streaming. What did you see out of this team? Who impressed you the most?
I was just impressed with the fight and the competitiveness that they played with. And hey, I'm not saying that they again. You sometimes have to take these friendlies with a little bit of grain of salt because it's like preseason. Oh, he's really impressive, but like it's not a real game. Like, what is it actually going to entail? What does it all look like? Because again, I don't know if these teams are taking it super seriously. I don't know those answers because obviously I'm not there. So obviously started off the game horribly. I mean, when the ball was whipped in, I was like, that's a goal. Like that is Kai Havertz. It's like someone's get on the end of it. And then Kai Havertz
Yeah.
obviously scores a goal within the first, I think, 2 minutes or whatever it was. So I'm like, oh crap, this is going to be a long day. But no, the U.S., they responded really well in that first half. Anthony Robinson took his goal really nicely. I mean, that is probably one of the best goals, if not the best USA goal that I've ever seen. I mean, the Jermaine Jones goal is probably up there. Michael Bradley had one. So again, I don't. It's probably the best one I've ever seen. I don't really know, but it's definitely probably the number one goal, and that goes in. But the entire game, they were fighting hard. They were competitive, and one of the biggest things we talked about is this team being soft, and they did not look soft these last two friendlies. And you got Tim Weah fighting the entire Germany team. I thought that was pretty sick. I was like, Tim, just don't throw a punch. Just don't throw a punch. That's all that matters. Do not throw a punch.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right. We got some dogs out here. We're just fighting the entire team. I respect it. But I would have liked to see a little bit more chances, probably created in our own possession rather than just some counterattacks. But again, that's probably what is going to yes, you are right, Fabian. You did predict 2-1 Germany. But if I looked at it, I mean, I was impressed because I mean, when you play a much better side than that Germany is compared to the US, you're gonna, focus a little bit more on the counterattacking play. But I thought for the most part, we played pretty well. I mean, maybe a couple chances we could have taken a little bit better. I know Pulisic had a chance to maybe score a goal. But no, for the most part, I liked what I saw. It creates, I would now say in terms of heading into the World Cup, I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic after what I saw here in these last two friendlies. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not really concerned about the results. Can you play competitive in these games? Can I see a back three, which I saw? And, hey, just don't get blown out in these games, and that's what they did. I was happy with these friendly window, these tune-up games or whatever it is. But I was happy with what I saw here today or this past week, these last two Saturday games. So impressed with what I saw, cautiously optimistic. The needle does not move for me personally, get to a quarterfinal. My expectations still around at 16, but, hey, anything can happen in these World Cups.
When I look back at last summer, my impression of the U.S. men's national team was there is nothing here. We are a disgruntled, disorganized mess. We don't know what we have. Our best players, frankly, are not even interested in playing for the U.S. men's national team. There's no real hype or expectations, we don't know what to expect, right? Because 2022 was a disappointment in a lot of different ways. Greg Berhalter didn't finish. And so for years, we were looking for, give us something. Mauricio Pochettino came in to bring this team to another level, and we didn't see that. Fast forward to playing this recent match against Germany, that iteration of the U.S. men's national team is something that is not just one or two steps. That's an entire leap ahead of where they were a summer ago. And I think cautiously optimistic is probably the best way of putting it. Obviously Leroy Sane, is a very experienced and good, player. And he was someone whose pace for Anthony Robinson was really hard to keep up with at certain times in the game. And yeah, I think the 50-50 balls were a concern for Adams and Weston McKennie. but just the overall fight and the grit and the passion. I would have liked to see a little bit more from this team when Pulisic takes a slide tackle from behind. I would like to see them swarm a little bit more. But then again, you don't want to do stupid stuff to take yourself, out of position or do anything dumb ahead of the World Cup. But
Yeah,
it
Tim.
was really it was really the structure that this team attacked with, even after conceding the early one. What I want to see out of this U.S. men's national team is exactly what they showed there, which is bend, don't break. Which, yes, you gave up an early one against Kai Havertz. That was a brilliant ball, by the way. Everything that goal was brilliant for Germany. But you respond to it by playing structured. You are able to fend off multiple attacks to give yourself an opportunity for Jedi to score, which is probably his best goal in his career, I would guess. I mean,
Probably.
that
He
was
doesn't
the
score
prettiest
much.
strike. Yeah, he doesn't score much, but that was the prettiest strike I've ever seen. But showed us why we said his importance is what it is. But this is, you have a reason as a U.S. men's national team fan to have optimism going into the World Cup. I always warned against it. I told people on this show, and you and I have both said this multiple times on this show, be cautious, be careful with your expectations heading into this World Cup on where this U.S. men's national team can go. Don't expect semis. We're not going to go win the thing. Okay, quarters at the most. After watching them in that match, I think the ceiling may be a touch higher than what we're willing to give it
Oh,
credit for, but you have a reason. That's all I'm saying. As a U.S. men's national team fan, you have a reason to be optimistic about where this train is headed. Anthony Robinson was the most impressive player, in my personal opinion, in that match against Germany.
yeah, it was good.
I thought Christian Pulisic was an ever-present threat again against the Germans. There were a few opportunities he just wasn't able to close on. Nearly put one on the foot of Dest, which could have tied the game early in that matchup, before Anthony Robinson's strike. I thought Flo looked good as well. Had a complex game, but there are a lot of really good signs. And all I'm saying is, don't go into this World Cup thinking that we're going to win it if you're repping the red, white, and blue. But something tells me about the combination of easier group at home, a roster that is far improved from where we were in 2022, and an actual structure to this team that looks like we're capable of at least hanging with the big dogs like we did against Germany. And I know it's just a friendly. You have reason to be, at the very least, cautiously optimistic about this team going into the World Cup.
Yeah, and I want to get into this one because I've actually been pretty impressed with Christian Pulisic these last couple of games. I thought he's played pretty well, and he's getting back to the old Pulisic self.
Yeah.
Fabian Pulisic, I honestly didn't see him do much. I'm not a casual. Just in case he's not aggressive, look at Endrick and Musiala. Well, you're comparing apples and oranges there, Fabian. Look at Brazil, Germany, and the U.S. One team is just not very good compared to the other two. Those teams can play an aggressive style where their stars and their midfielders and our attackers can thrive and take the spotlight. The USA is on a different level compared to those two. Why do you think they had to sit back a little bit more? They've got to play the counterattacking play because the U.S. is not up to that level. So your stars and your best players are not going to shine the brightest in those games against the big teams. Why? Because from a team standpoint, they're going to sit back a little bit. Why do you think Arsenal sat back against PSG so much? Because if they play in the one-on-one, the free-flowing, and try to attack as well, they're going to get burned over the top, and then they're going to be losing 3-0. And everyone's going to clown them. Oh, you lost 5-0 in a final. You lost 5-0 to Germany. You have to play it smart sometimes. Why do you think sometimes you'll see a smaller football team against a power four football team? They're going to try to drain as much clock as they possibly can. And all of a sudden, that star quarterback you saw in the MAC all of a sudden is only thrown for like 105 yards against Michigan. Why? Because they're trying to run the football as much as possible. They're trying to drain as much clock. That's not a very good comparison there, Fabian. But other than that, I've been impressed with Christian Pulisic. And that's weird to say that out loud because obviously in the last 12 months or so, we have been so critical of Christian Pulisic. because of, obviously what happened last summer. And does he truly care about the gold card? Does he truly care about the badge? Yada, yada, yada. Again, I think last summer was simply, can I find Pochettino? Can I find the bench guys? Can I find the depth pieces? Can I find the 15 to 26 player, the number 15 to number 26 players on the roster? I'm not looking at Pulisic and McKennie and those guys because I already know what I'm going to get out of them. And the Gold Cup, we've talked about it. It doesn't move the needle at all for us anymore. We've gone past that aspect in our soccer lives, I guess, soccer life or soccer career or soccer. I don't know which way you want to say it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm just saying, Pulisic, I've been impressed with up at this point, these last two friendlies, and I'm hoping that we can get that 2025 fall Christian Pulisic compared to the spring/winter Christian Pulisic we've gotten here the last couple of months with AC Milan. But he's looked good. And if Christian Pulisic is kind of going at his best, I could see us, maybe making a little bit of noise.
I think that Mauricio Pochettino actually understands American soccer and what he has in front of him, maybe a little bit more than what we were willing to give him credit. And I that was the part of this conversation that we were always having, especially when the show began, about, well, no team with a foreign-born head coach has ever won a World Cup. Listen, I'm not saying the U.S. is going to win a World Cup. However, despite the fact that he's foreign-born, despite the fact that he has, again, even in, we saw in the fall trying to immerse himself in like college football and all these different aspects of American life, I think we've seen the IQity and the ability to understand the pieces that he does have in the last two matches here going into the World Cup. That's what gives me the most confidence, is I do think he understands what he has. Now, is he going to be around after the World Cup is over? My guess is no, right? My guess is he's going back to the club game. He's going back somewhere else. But this experiment, and I call it an experiment when it comes to Mauricio Pochettino, because USA Soccer knew exactly what they were doing, going from Greg Berhalter to Mauricio Pochettino. Like, it is a completely different contrast of worlds when you look at those two. If this experiment works out in Mauricio Pochettino's done after this year, that whole conversation we've had about Pep Guardiola and going after Pep and trying to dump all your resources into getting him, I think we know exactly where that train's headed if Mauricio Pochettino has success in this World Cup. Because I think he's proven that we can go off the beaten path and find a brilliant soccer mind that can win with this team. I know we didn't win yesterday, but like I said, if we make some noise, I think USA Soccer, for as much bashing as we've done of them for going that way, I think they have a pretty good idea that, hey, at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing in the world. Turns out people that win things in the biggest league in the world actually know a thing or two about how to coach a team, right? Doesn't really matter who's on that team.
So a manager who's taking a team to a Champions League final might know something. Got it. Gotcha. Okay.
He
might know a little bit.
I don't know. They're not quite like glorified babysitters like they are in the National Basketball Association. Like, they actually, they know a few things.
I think NBA coaches should get a little bit of credit. I think, especially in the playoffs.
Oh,
I think you should get a little bit of credit.
I get it. Yeah, in the postseason, sure. Maybe regular season, no, but
Yeah, no one cares about that. They make Jalen Duren look good in the regular season, and Osar Thompson. The Pistons faked their way to 60 wins. Yeah, that's. I'll give NBA coaches some credit in the playoffs. I'll give you that.
By the way, I know we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about EA Sports. The way they always do. They simulate all the big tournaments, whether it be the playoffs. It's in the game. They always simulate it. So they simulated the World Cup. We're going to take a look at the top scorers, top assisters, as well as how everybody fared, including the U.S. men's national team. I want to get your opinion on that. First off, though, have you seen the images of the European sunbathing?
Yes,
to get
I
used
have.
to the American heat.
Did you also see the Norwegian photo they took before they left?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
because
dude, I was looking at the Germans in Florida. Florida's still preheating, man. Florida's not even like Florida yet. So, all I'll say, like you can say whatever you want to say about football players, American football players, all they're big, fat, and lazy, blah 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 blah. Try wearing pads for 4 hours in that heat. That's all I'm saying, man.
Can I say one thing about that real quick? Because I always found it funny, like in high school, and Yes. Fabian says Pulisic is no Donovan or Dempsey. In terms of mentality, I will say no, but he's more skilled than both of those players. Let's be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
He's more skilled and probably has a higher ceiling than both Dempsey and Donovan. What I always found funny, because like all the high school, because obviously there was two-a-days and everything like that, and all the high schoolers on the football team. Oh my God, it's so hot out here. You know, it's really difficult. And I sit there and I go, so our soccer conditionings are at 7 in the morning to 9 a.m. You guys choose to go out there at the hottest times and wear the hottest equipment. We're running more than you guys, but we're doing it when it's kind of cold outside a little bit. Like it's 7, like it's bearable. Don't give me this crap about how it's so difficult being out there. It's so hot. You guys choose to practice and train at the hottest part of the day. Maybe go in the morning, then you come back in the evening where it's a little bit more relaxed. I'm just saying, be a little bit smart about all this, guys. I'm just saying.
Hey, man, they would do stuff to, like, intentionally, like, torture us. Like, it was like the military. Like, I feel like I've been through basic training a couple of times. It was just freaking two-a-days in football.
But,
like 4 hours out there, another 2 hours on film. It's like
there was times where, like, I would go out and try to, like, practice at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm like, thank God we do this at 7 in the morning, man. Like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. That is like, hey, Coach Williams and Coach Krabbins, God bless you guys for choosing 7 a.m. practices in the summer. And then like that was Godspeed.
I guess I didn't realize European summers don't get that hot.
No, they
I
don't
think
get
it's
that.
hilarious that like South American teams are like, it's all good, we're good. So I think maybe CONCACAF teams might benefit a little bit from the fact
potentially, yeah.
Especially like Mexico, like they got no problem with that.
Ooh,
like they're used to that all the time.
Because as Azteca is so elevated as well, and I don't know if the Europeans will. England, that was someone saying that, or not England. I forgot who's playing Mexico in their group, but let me just throw it up real quick. I'll be able to tell. Czech Republic, Korea. Okay, so maybe not the high one. Hey, maybe those European teams struggle up there playing. I don't think Denver's a host city. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think Denver is one, but imagine if they were playing at the Broncos
Mile
Stadium.
High.